All right, buckle up, because today we're diving headfirst into a world I bet you never thought twice about. Get ready for hides, skins, leather products, the whole shebang.
The glamorous life of international leather trade, huh? Who knew it could be so fascinating?
Hmm.
But seriously, we're talking intricate supply chains, global strategy. It's way more complex than it sounds.
You think so? I mean, I thought I had a handle on things. I wear a leather jacket sometimes, right? But then I saw these RoleCatcher files, and whoa, completely different ballgame.
Oh, absolutely. Like, did you know import-export managers in this field often deal with CITES regulations? That stuff's no joke.
Seedites. Okay, now you're just using big words to sound smart.
No, seriously, it's the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species. We're not just talking about your average cowhide here. It's exotic animal skins, making sure all that trade is, legal, sustainable, the whole nine yards.
Okay, you're right. Point taken. This isn't just about spreadsheets and cargo ships. There's real weight to it. But for those of us who don't speak fluent leather trade, break it down. What does an import-export manager actually do all day?
Okay, picture this. You've got a shipment of ostrich leather, right? Coming in hot from South Africa, got to get it to a luxury handbag maker in Italy. Sounds simple enough, right?
Yeah, slap a stamp on it, send it on its way. What's so hard?
Oh, if only. But plot twist, there's a massive dock workers strike in Rotterdam, throws your whole schedule into chaos. And guess who gets to clean that mess up?
Let me guess, our import-export manager friend.
Bingo. They're the ones scrambling for workarounds, rerouting that shipment, renegotiating deadlines, putting out fires left and right, all while keeping everyone in the loop. It's like high-stakes problem solving, but on a global scale.
And that's just one shipment, right? I can only imagine how many plates they're spinning at once.
Oh, tons. We're talking suppliers, buyers, customs agents, shipping companies, the works. It's like conducting a global orchestra, making sure each instrument arrives in tune and on time.
Speaking of instruments, something else caught my eye in the RoleCatcher Research Risk Assessment. Apparently, predicting supply chain disruptions is a big part of the gig.
Huge. And not just minor hiccups. We're talking major curveballs, political unrest in a key sourcing region, a natural disaster wiping out a processing plant across the globe. These managers need to see those coming a mile away.
So they need a crystal ball on top of their Excel spreadsheets. Sounds intense.
Maybe not a crystal ball, but a deep, deep understanding of global events, economic trends, even cultural sensitivities. That's crucial. A tiny detail, like a national holiday in a supplier's country, could throw everything off if they're not careful.
Wow. Okay, I'm starting to see why they're considered the conductors in all this. But
Right.
let's rewind for a sec. For someone just starting out, what's that climb to the top even look like?
Yeah, it's not like you jump straight into the deep end, right?
Yeah.
RoleCatcher lays it out. You probably start as an import-export coordinator, real nuts and bolts stuff. Think paperwork, tracking shipments, learning the rope.
Okay, so like, gotta learn the scales before you conduct the symphony, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Then you work your way up to import-export specialist. That's where you put those skills to the test, maybe handling negotiations with a certain set of suppliers or managing logistics for a specific region.
Leading a section of the orchestra before taking on the whole shebang.
Perfect analogy. And all along the way, you're honing the skills you need to succeed at each level.
And speaking of skills, this is where the RoleCatcher deep dive gets really interesting. Obviously, you gotta be organized, detail-oriented, good with numbers, right? That's a given.
For sure. But what really jumped out at me was the emphasis on skills you might not expect. Stuff like, get this, active listening and cultural sensitivity.
Really? Didn't exactly have those at the top of my list for someone dealing with shipping contracts and customs forms all day.
I know, right? But think about it. You're working with people from all over the world, each with their own ways of doing business, communicating. Yeah, you got to be tuned in.
So, like, a successful negotiation could come down to understanding body language or something, unspoken cultural rules, that kind of thing.
100%. One little misinterpretation, even if it seems tiny, could make or break a deal. RoleCatcher actually gave this example of a manager nearly blew a huge contract with a Chinese supplier because they misread a hesitation during a video call.
Oh, wow. See, that's what I'm talking about. Soft skills have an oil impact on the bottom line. Who knew?
It goes even deeper than just closing deals, though. Building those relationships with international partners, that's essential. Trust, understanding each other, super key when you're dealing with those crazy complicated global supply chains.
So it's not just about knowing the rules, it's about navigating people too. And on a global scale, no less.
Exactly. And that actually brings us to another interesting point. Continuous learning. Got to be in it for the long haul, constantly up in your game.
Makes sense, right? The world of international trade, it's always changing. New regulations, new markets popping up, tech advancements, I got to keep up.
Absolutely. RoleCatcher was adamant about this. Even if you're a seasoned pro, you got to keep learning, conferences, certifications, even just staying on top of the news. It all matters.
It's like they say, the more you know, the more you realize you don't know, right?
Truth. And in a world as complex as international trade, that whole lifelong learning thing, it's not just a suggestion, it's survival. Speaking of which, RoleCatcher had some really interesting stuff about how tech, especially AI, is changing the game for job seekers in this field. Blew my mind a little, to be honest.
Yeah, they were talking about AI tailoring resumes, even predicting interview questions. Feels kind of sci-fi, but I guess that's the world we live in now.
Right. Think about it. You could be up against hundreds of other qualified people for one job.
Yeah.
Having those AI tools in your back pocket, that could be the difference maker.
Okay, but how does it work? The AI just like scans your resume and boom, it's perfect.
Not quite magic, but pretty close. RoleCatcher's AI. It digs through job descriptions, figures out what employers are really looking for, keywords, skills, the whole shebang. Then it tells you how to make your resume pop.
So it's like having a personal PR agent for your resume, making sure it looks good in the digital world.
Exactly. And it's not just about cramming in buzzwords. RoleCatcher's AI looks at your experience, figures out how to best present your accomplishments so they really connect with what the employer wants.
That's seriously cool. What about those AI interview preppers? How do those work?
Imagine going into an interview and you already have a good idea of what they're going to ask.
Yeah.
RoleCatcher's AI, it's analyzed thousands of interview questions specific to roles and industries. It's like getting a sneak peek at the test beforehand.
No more getting totally blindsided. That would have been a lifesaver back in the day.
Right. And the best part is, RoleCatcher offers a free version of their platform, so anyone can try out these awesome AI tools. They're all about equal opportunity, giving everyone a fair shot.
Love that. The job market can be brutal, so any leg up is huge.
Totally. And, it ties into something we've been talking about this whole time. Sure, we're focused on this one specific career path, import-export manager, all about hides, skins, leather.
Right.
But honestly, the stuff we talked about, it applies across the board.
It all comes back to being adaptable, always learning, and never forgetting that even in this tech-driven world, human connection, that's what really matters.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And on that note, we've really gone deep today. International trade, the ins and outs of being an import-export manager, even a glimpse into the future of job hunting with AI. But more than anything, I hope we've shown you that no matter what path you choose, those human skills, cultural awareness, adaptability, a thirst for knowledge, that's what will take you far.